Hey, what's goody, Frye gang? This video is more going to be of like a commentary type video, so I'm not going to really be putting any images or anything up on screen, so you can just listen to the video. If like you're busy or something, you don't have to watch it, you can just listen, because I'm not really going to be putting anything up on screen, and I'm just kind of using old gameplay anyway since I haven't recorded any in such a long time. So because I just kind of wanted to rant and ramble about something that's been pissing me off for quite a while, and a lot of people fall for. But stop being a victim. Stop letting yourself be a victim to meta. The word meta it's very scary, okay? And meta does a lot of damage. Now I'm not gonna be over here like doing posts like, oh my god, meta is the worst thing ever, da 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 da. I mean, meta is obviously there for a reason. I might not agree with it, but I mean, it is there. And I'm an anti-meta-er, I guess. I'm an anti-meta person, I guess. I'm not a fan of meta, like, at all. I never really have been, because if you think about it, it's kind of like a destructive mindset to have in terms of meta. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really do any good. It kind of does more harm than it does good, at least for a lot of people. But meta, for those of you who don't know, meta stands for most effective tactic available. And in other words, that's just really saying what you can do to get like the most reward out of for the least effort. All right, meta just basically means how lazy you can be in doing something. There will always be a meta for everything, even for things that don't require a meta. Like, and the reason I'm even talking about this in first place is because obviously y'all may not care about this, but 3.0 or 2.7 just dropped today for Honkai Star Rail, the new patch, with some really game-changing, like, huge meta characters coming out, and a 3.0 just around the corner, which is a huge update. And everyone's been scrambling and losing their minds about meta this, meta that, and even in single-player games like Honkai Star Rail, there is a meta. Like, meta is usually for like multiplayer games, for like Splatoon or other games, but even in single player games like Honkai Star Rail, there's a meta, even though there really shouldn't be. There's really no competition in single player games, so there's really no need for a meta. And even if there is a meta, even for a gacha game like Honkai Star Rail, where power creep is very prevalent and meta kind of holds a little more weight there, because even though no character is like good or bad, every character is viable to clear all of the end game content, just like every weapon in Splatoon is viable to win matches. There's not really any good or bad weapons. Yeah, sure, some are better than others, but that's just really meaning you takes less effort and less skill to be good with those weapons. And that's really all meta is, at least for Splatoon. It's like, what weapon can you play to be more lazy and just put in less work to get better results? And that's really all it is. So like, no weapon is really bad in Splatoon, or no kit is just like bad in Splatoon. Every kit and every weapon are viable. You just might have to put in a little more work to get results with a certain weapon over another. And the reason why I'm even saying all this is because a lot of people like religiously live by meta, like that's all there is. Like, some players will just completely drop weapons if they fall out of meta, or start picking up weapons because they've become meta. Like, I can't even tell you how many more splatter shots I have seen once it became meta. Like, splatter shot, yeah, I saw it like here and there, but once it became meta and all the big top players started talking about it, now there's fucking splatter shot everywhere. Like, people will pick up a weapon just because it is meta. And if you want to play meta, sure, go ahead, but for those of you, don't play meta weapons just because they're meta. Play the weapons you like playing, play the weapons you want to play. Above all else, it is a game, so it is supposed to be fun. Don't play a weapon just because it's meta and because it's a good weapon you'll think you'll get good results. If you don't like the weapon, you don't have to play it. Like me, like, this isn't even a plan, this is like completely coincidental, but in a lot of multiplayer games that I play, I typically always enjoy playing like the bottom tier weapons or characters, like the lower down. For example, like Smash, I main Zelda and Robin. Like, come on, they are like down near mid or if not bottom tier, and I have an absolute blast with them. A lot of the bottom tier characters, I play Jigglypuff, one of the worst characters in the game by the tier list standard. And even in a Splatoon, I play Paintbrush, I play Luna Blaster. All right, I play bottom tier characters and weapons by complete accident. I just have a lot of fun with them. But tier lists and like meta in general, just don't really even pay attention to them. When you're playing a game, don't worry about the meta, don't look at tier lists, because all it does is just turn you into a doomer about, oh my god, is this character good? Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I used to be like that. Whenever I'd play a game, I'd look up like, oh, is this character any good? Should I be using this character? Should I be using this build? Can I use this weapon? Da 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 da, all that. And like, yeah, looking up general like tips for like builds and guides for characters, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it is nice to get some advice and details on certain weapons or like subs and specials, and like see little intricacies about them. And for example, like gear abilities for certain weapons, that's fine. That's kind of like objective information. But in terms of like meta, it's healthier for your mental state not to worry about that, because then you get so caught up in, oh my god, I need to play like this, I need this to do this, can I even play this weapon? It's bad. And even socially, meta is kind of destructive, because people will make fun of you for playing lower tier weapons or weapons that are considered bad. Like, we all know the situation with Reflex Deco, how that weapon has been absolutely just torn apart and torn to shreds to hell for how, quote, bad it is, when it's not bad just because the sub and special don't really flow with the weapon well. Just because the kit doesn't really complement the weapon as like it should or as you'd want it to, doesn't mean it is bad. It just means you might have to put a little bit more work to get results. And I had heard, don't quote me on this since I don't really have any evidence for this and I couldn't find it anywhere, but I did hear that Reflex Deco did win a major. It was, I think it was Reflex Deco or Undercover, some other like bottom tier weapon had won a major not too long ago, like last year or this year. So every single weapon is viable. Some just take a little bit less work to be good with. And that's really all meta is. And people all just clamor to meta like, oh my god, this weapon is meta now, I have to play this. Oh, this weapon fell out of the meta or dropped a tier, I'm completely dropping this weapon now. Like, even if you like the weapon, you'll just drop it because it's not meta anymore. It's so stupid. Like, and in top players, like, maybe people are not going to agree with me on this one and might get mad at me on this one, but top players, they push meta a lot. And even for top players, meta doesn't really matter a whole lot, because like competitive players, meta doesn't really matter a whole lot. Okay, well, it's kind of like a paradox, because naturally competitive players are going to play meta, which just kind of forces other players to play meta in order to combat what's already meta. So it's just everyone's playing meta and nothing else gets any attention. But even like top competitive players play meta, but I mean, you don't really have to. You can play whatever you want as long as like the team composition is okay and like fits well together. Really anything works. And even if all of the weapons, like all 4 weapons on the team, don't really complement each other or flow well together, if like the team comp is absolutely horrible, you could still win the match or the tournament or whatever. Tournaments or like Splatoon, like gameplay in Splatoon, it more depends on the skill of the player than it does of how good or bad the weapon is. Because you could play Undercover and be an absolute monster with it. Like, I've gotten destroyed by really good Undercovers and they like top frag the match by not even close. Like, there are really good players who can pick up like a bottom tier weapon or quote bad weapon and do absolutely phenomenal with it. So it's more dependent on your skill and not the weapon itself. Yeah, some weapons are easier to use than others, but that doesn't mean they are better than the weapons that are harder to use or take more skill, more time, more like dedication to get good with. No weapon is inherently worse or better than another. Meta is people, especially competitive players, will treat meta like it's the end all be all, like it's this holy grail. You have to play meta or you're not going to get results. You have to play this meta character or else you're not going to get anywhere in the game. Play this meta weapon or you're going to fail every single time. Or like in fighting games, like, oh, if you want to win tournaments, play this character. If you want to win sets, play this character, this certain way, this play style. Like, fuck all of that. Play whoever you want. If you have the patience and dedication to get good with a lower tier or bottom tier character, then do it. If anything, it's more impressive to do that, because then you can show that meta doesn't matter, tier lists don't matter. It's all kind of, if you really think about it, it's all just kind of doom posting. Tier lists and like talking about meta, it's all really just doom posting, because none of that really matters. If you're a good enough player, you can do amazing with any character or any weapon. But to be fair, if a character weapon is like fundamentally flawed, if it just actually doesn't work how it should, then I guess there can be a case for that. But even still, in that case, with like Splatoon, the Brellas and their shields not really deploying where they should, just the way Brellas are kind of like janky. But even then, you could still perform very well with them, like I was saying about undercovers earlier. So meta in general, I just really don't like as a concept. Like as a concept, the most effective tactic, yeah, that's kind of like an objective thing, but I think like the actual meaning of it has just gotten so lost that people treat it like this end all be all. Like you have to play meta in order to be good or whatever. And if you think about it, sometimes meta is just like an autopilot and you're not really showing any skill. It's kind of just like an autopilot where you get to just be lazy and put in the bare minimum. If anything, you know, a lot of top players aren't that good by that logic. So I don't really understand the whole like obsession over meta. You need to play meta. You need to play meta. No, just play what you want, play what you enjoy, and don't worry about playing meta or let anyone try to scare you into playing meta or getting this meta character or getting this meta weapon. Just play whatever you want and enjoy the game. Even at a competitive level, you don't really need to play meta in order to get results. Yeah, there's going to be a shit ton of pressure at top level and competitive level because everyone else is playing meta, so you're kind of forced to play meta as well. But you are more than capable of performing at a top level by just not playing meta, without playing meta, just playing whatever you want. Now, in a game like Splatoon, that would be kind of harder because you have an entire team. It's not just you relying on yourself. You have 3 other people. So playing meta in Splatoon is more forced, I would say. But in a game, like I said, like Honkai Star Rail, where it's not even multiplayer, it's just all single player, meta is very prevalent, more there than in Splatoon. Like meta is very scary over at HSR, okay? Like I've been playing HSR for quite a long time, and the meta there, like the meta community there is way more toxic than it is in Splatoon. Just there are entire like groups and communities that form just around meta, and it's so toxic. Meta itself is just a toxic concept, I guess, at least like in the current form that it is right now. So like I said, for a game like Honkai Star Rail and even Genshin, this was a big thing in Genshin, but especially for Genshin, all of the end game content is clearable with every single character in the game. Even like by tier list, the worst 4-star in the game can easily clear, not easily, but they can clear end game content with enough investment and the right build and everything. So every single character is viable and can clear the end game content, but there's still like a tier list or meta telling you, oh, this character is good, use this character to do this, don't use this character because they're bad, this character can do it better, so use this one instead of that one. What if you like that quote worse character more? Should you use them? Oh no, they're not meta, this character's better, so I have to use this one even if I don't like them. Like, no, fuck all of that. Use what you like. If it can clear the content, then it's fine. Like, everything is clearable with every character, so don't worry about the meta and all of that. Just build the characters you want and have a good time with the game. That's what games are for, is to have a good time with them and have fun. If you just worry about meta all the time, it feels like an obligation and it just strips all of the fun out of the game. So for Splatoon and other things, just fuck the meta. Stop listening to meta and tier lists and all that. Yeah, if you want to just like look kind of just to see the perspective of what people are thinking about certain characters or weapons, that's cool, but don't like religiously follow it like a lot of competitive players do. It's really a toxic mindset to have, and maybe people won't agree with me on this whole take, but that's just what I think. I think meta is really unnecessary, even in a game like Splatoon, a team game like Splatoon. It's not really necessary. All it really does is see how much you can get away with being lazy. You can be less lazy with some weapons than others, and those are like the top meta weapons. But whatever, that's just what I think. If you agree, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Just say something. But yeah, that's about it. See you next mission to play some goddamn Spidey.